Hello, everyone. In this podcast episode, I'm going to talk about existence and possibilities. In this world, there are things that exist and things that do not exist. There are things that are possible and things that are impossible. The things that exist only exist because you believe that they exist. Perspective determines what exists and what doesn't. Perspective determines what's possible and what's impossible. If you live in a world without scientists, right? Atoms will not exist in your world. From your perspective, atoms will not be real. Why? Because scientists are not there to discover atoms. If scientists aren't there to discover atoms will not be real. Atoms will not exist in your world. If scientists didn't discover cells, people would not believe cells exist. That's how existence and non-existence works. It is based off perspective. What you think exists only exists from your perspective, from the perspective of someone that's never seen it before, and it'll never be in their lives. It doesn't exist. Many people live lives without realizing that bacteria are real, parasites are real. In the world of many third world countries, people who dwell in third world countries, in their world, right? Bacteria aren't real. When people fall ill, they don't fall ill because of bacteria. They fall ill because of something else. Curses, spells, or whatever, choice they make. Whatever their minds can imagine. That's how someone fell ill. From their perspective, bacteria aren't real. But from the perspective of scientists, from the perspective of, people living in developed countries, bacteria are 100% fact. They are 100% real. They exist just like everybody else exists. From the perspective of atoms, right? If you shrink yourself to the size of an atom, right? Or if you were born at the size of an atom, humans will not exist. From the perspective of an atom doesn't see human beings. It doesn't see cells. It doesn't see planets. It doesn't see galaxies. It doesn't see the universe. From the perspective of an atom, only atoms and subatomic particles exist. Only atomic and subatomic particles exist. From their perspective, they may know that, there's a bigger world out there, but from the perspective of an atom, only other atoms exist. Humans do not exist. From the perspective of an atom, there's no such thing as a human being. A human being is too large to exist in the world of atoms. They are too large, so they don't exist. That's why humans also believe, there are humans who believe that God doesn't exist. God is the world itself. But because the world is too large, many people just assume the world can be intelligent. The world can be conscious. The world can be its own living being. But that's a lie. If you're alive, the world has to be alive. Because the world is you. You exist through the world. Your consciousness comes through the world. Your intelligence is granted to you by the world itself. Intelligence comes from the world itself. Consciousness comes from the world itself. Life itself is a property granted to humans by the world itself, meaning everything we have is something that belongs to the world. So how can the world not be conscious? How can the world not be intelligent? How can the world not be alive? Many people will say it's because the world is too large. Because the world is too large, it can't be alive. then if you follow that mindset, then humans can't be alive either. Because from the perspective of an ant, from the perspective of an atom, a human being is too large to be intelligent. Remember, 99% of an atom is empty space, and human beings are made up of atoms, meaning human beings are composed of mostly empty space, just like the world around you, right? Many people believe the world is too large and it's filled with empty space, so it can't be intelligent. It can't be conscious. Guess what? The human mind is also composed of empty space. Your brain is composed of atoms, which is composed of empty space. You are mostly empty space, and that's a fact, just like the world around you. And from the perspective of an atom, you are also too large. You're far too large to be conscious. You're far too large to be intelligent. You're far too large to be alive. Do not let size deceive you. If you can be alive, the world itself can be alive. Why? Because your life comes from the world. Life itself is a property given to human beings by the world itself. So why can't the world be alive when the very concept of life is a concept granted to human beings by the world itself? Intelligence itself is a property of the world, just like energy and atoms are properties of the world. They don't belong to humans, they belong to the world itself. The very world around you is conscious. That's why human beings are conscious. The very world around you is intelligent. That's why human beings are intelligent. Our intelligence comes from the world because we are the world. The thing that makes up the human body is the world itself, and we are conscious. The thing that makes up the human body is the very world itself, and we're alive. The thing that makes up the human body is the very world itself, and we're intelligent, are we not? The world makes up our body. That's why we're intelligent. The world makes up our body. That's why we're alive. The world makes up our body. That's why we are conscious. Our consciousness is granted to us by the world itself. And that's why the world itself is God. God is the world around you. That's why the Bible tells you God is omnipresent. When you become omnipresent, you become the world itself. That's the very definition of the world, omnipresent. Nothing can be more omnipresent than the world. Nothing can be more omniscient than the world. Nothing can be more intelligent than the world. And nothing can be more omnipotent than the world itself. What we have, everything that the human race has, comes from the world, comes from God. So many people will say God doesn't exist, but you have to understand this world. This is in a world of impossibilities. This is a world where what you believe is possible is only possible from your perspective. What you believe is impossible is only impossible from your perspective. What you think is real is only real from your perspective. What you think is an illusion is only an illusion from one perspective. What you think exists only exists from one perspective. What you believe doesn't exist only doesn't exist from one perspective. You have to understand, do not limit yourself to what people believe. Your mind has more power than you can possibly imagine because your mind is the world itself. Your mind is God. The mind you have was granted to you by God Himself, was granted to you by the world itself. Through God, all things are possible. That's what the Bible states. Through this world, your mind exists. Through this world, all thoughts are possible. And only through this world The world itself is intelligent. The world itself is God. That's why God is omnipotent. That's why God is omnipresent. And that's why God is omniscient. You can't be more omniscient than the world because the world is everything. You can't be more omnipotent than the world because the world is everything. You definitely can't be more omnipresent than the world itself because the world is everything. You know, so many people, don't believe, think of things as possible or impossible. You have to understand what you believe is impossible truly isn't impossible. Why? Is if you can think of it in your mind, right? It automatically means it's possible. Whatever idea you have in your head, the fact that you can think of it in your mind proves its possibility. The very fact that you can think of it in your mind proves that it's possible. Why? If you say it isn't possible in this world, you're wrong because your mind is still part of this world. That's what you need to understand. The very mind that you have right now, your consciousness, your conscious mind is a 100% part of this world. If it can be possible inside that mind of yours, if you can think of it inside that mind of yours, it already exists in the world. Something that can't exist in this world can't be thought of. Something that's not possible in this world can't be thought of. The fact that a human mind can think of it automatically means it already exists in our world because your mind itself is still the world. You cannot separate the human mind from the world. The human mind is always part of the world. The human mind will always be part of God. God is the world itself. So this is why God tells you through God all things are possible. If you have faith, you can make things that many people believe are impossible possible. But you must have faith. You must believe in God and you must believe in yourself. If you don't believe that something is possible, it will never be possible for you. But that's because you're stuck in the perspective of impossibilities. You have to understand, if your mind can't think of something, it means it's not possible. Anything your mind can think of automatically means it's possible. Why? Because your mind will always be part of the world. If it can exist in your mind, and your mind is the world, it exists in the world. The mind is not an isolated place from the world. The mind is the world itself. Your mind is the world itself. So if your mind can think of it, it means it is real. It means it exists. It means it can exist inside this world. If it couldn't exist inside this world, your mind would not be able to think of it. The fact that your mind can think of something proves that it can be possible in this world because it's already possible inside your mind, and your mind is still this world. You can never separate the human mind or the human race from the world. Humanity and the world comes together as one. You can't say humans are not part of the world. You're wrong. Humans will always be part of God. God is the world itself. Everything exists through God. That's what the Bible states. All things are possible only through God. God is the world itself. That's why everything exists only through this world. If it can't exist through this world, your mind will not be able to think of it. Ever. This is why many people stop. Many people stop they have the greatest ideas in the world and they just give up. Why? Because they keep believing that it's impossible. This is impossible. It's impossible for a woman to become the president of the United States. It's impossible for women to lead the country. It's impossible for men to lead the country. It's impossible for them to become an astronaut. It's impossible for them to do this. It's impossible for them to do that. It's impossible, it's impossible, it's impossible. It's impossible for God to exist. It's impossible for this. It's impossible for that. They're too close-minded to realize the moment that idea enters your mind, it's already possible because your mind is still part of the world. If something can exist in your mind, it already exists in the world because your mind is still the world. Meaning, if it can exist inside that mind of yours, there's a way for you to create it inside this world. You don't know how yet, but you can figure it out. You can figure it out. Because the fact is, if it can exist inside that mind of yours, it already exists in the world. You can't think of something that isn't part of our world. You just can't. The fact that you can think of it proves it is already part of our world. It is a possibility in our world. This is why there are people who become great scientists, right? They think of something, a great idea, and they put it into action. Instead of giving up on themselves and thinking, hey, this idea that I have can be possible in our world. They think of the opposite. If I can think of it, it's probably possible. This is probably a great idea. This is why, people who believe in themselves are the future pioneers of the country, the future pioneers of the world. Because when they realize, when they think of a great idea, they don't give up on themselves. They think, hey, if it can, if it's possible in my head, it could be possible in real life. So they create the next multi-billion-dollar company from scratch, simply because they believed that if it's possible in my head, it can also be possible in the real world, because my head is still part of the real world. Perspective determines what's possible and what's impossible. People who are closed-minded will always believe that cells can be possible. It can be possible for cells to exist because they don't see cells with their eyes. It can be possible for atoms to exist because they don't see atoms with their eyes. It can be possible for the earth to be round because they don't see the earth as a round earth. It can be possible for the earth to be moving because they don't feel the earth move. It can be possible. It can be possible. If you have the mindset of it can be possible, you're deluding yourself. You're tricking yourself. You're deceiving yourself. The fact that your mind can think of it already means it's possible in the world. Something that can't exist in this world can be thought of. Meaning anything you can think of can exist in this world. There's nothing God can't do. And this world itself is God. And you being part of God, as long as you believe in yourself, as long as you have good faith, there's nothing you can't do. That's what the Bible tells you. As long as you have the faith, there's nothing you can't do in this world. Do not be deceived by liars. Atheists are liars. Do not be deceived by fools who believe it's impossible for God to exist. It's impossible for a woman to be president. It's impossible for a man to be president. It's impossible for someone to go to the moon. It's impossible for cells to exist. It's impossible for atoms to exist. It's impossible for humans to be intelligent. It's impossible for humans to live on Mars. It's impossible for humans to live on Saturn. It's impossible for humans to leave planet Earth. They always want to tell you it's impossible. They always love telling you it's impossible. Do not do not believe in these closed-minded people. Do not listen to these liars. It's only impossible for them, but it's not impossible for you. Just because it's impossible for them does not mean it's impossible for you. As long as it can exist in your mind, it already exists in the world, because your mind is still the world. Everything in this world is part of the world, including your mind, including your consciousness, including your intelligence. Everything is possible. And that's what the Bible tells you. Everything is possible. So that's it for today's podcast episode. I pray for everyone's safety and understanding. Amen.